Good afternoon. It's Cindy Stauffer, staff writer from Lancaster Newspapers. Today with me is Eric Hurst, Millersville University meteorologist, and we're going to talk about tomorrow's storm, which many of us woke up this morning to realize was arriving. Eric, I wondered if you could start out by talking a little bit about the surprise kind of element of this storm. Many of us learned about it early today when we turned on the radio, logged into our computers, that sort of thing. What happened?
Right. Well, you know, we're in this pattern, we have been for much of the winter, very fast jet stream flow. And what we've seen most of the winter are these fast-moving clipper systems, which are relatively minor nuisance-type storms. So we had, you know, going back to the middle of last week, we saw that there was kind of in the pipeline a clipper that would be coming through here on Tuesday. But without having moisture available, it wouldn't have produced much more than a little light snow or flurries here. But that changed last evening when we got some new guidance and got a better understanding of the nature of this disturbance, digging in with the jet stream a little sharper. And when a system sharpens up, it slows up, and all of a sudden that then opens the door for Atlantic moisture to get tapped. So instead of the clipper moving through very quickly and being moisture-starved throughout, this system's going to kind of slam on the brakes as it reaches the East Coast, tap Atlantic moisture, and therefore, especially southeastern PA up into southern New England, is under the gun for a plowable snow.
So forecasters didn't realize that scenario was setting up until Sunday evening at some point?
Well, yeah, that's when it became a likelihood rather than just a possibility. If you go back to last Thursday, I wrote in my weather discussion. I know I even when I briefed PennDOT late last week, I told them that there was a clipper coming Tuesday, and there was an outside chance that it would tap Atlantic moisture and produce a more significant event. But I think at that time I said it was like a 20% chance. So that's an 80% chance that it wasn't going to slow down. Well, it looks like it is going to slow down, and hence we have a pretty significant storm on tap for Tuesday.
Let's talk a little bit about the timing of the storm. Is it going to hit people who are going back to work following the Martin Luther King holiday?
Yeah, you bet. It looks like light snow will arrive here right around daybreak. You know, I'm thinking 6 to 9 a.m., somewhere in that time frame. The air is going to be very cold and dry tomorrow. And as the snow picks up, especially late morning and through the afternoon hours, it will accumulate rapidly. It's going to be a light powdery snow. As the winds pick up, it will start blowing around late in the day and Tuesday night. So this event will evolve very similar to the January 2nd storm. If folks can think back to that event a few weeks ago where the snow started off kind of wet to begin with, but then became drier and fluffier, and there was drifting, and in fact by the morning after the storm, temperatures were down around 0 degrees. And I think almost to the T, this event will pan out like that storm did.
Let's talk a little bit about how the storm is going to impact different areas of the county differently. We're going to get more in certain areas and less in other areas. Tell me a little bit about that.
Right. Well, the track of this clipper is to our south. It's going to by the way, currently it's up in Minnesota right now, this clipper, and it's snowing lightly and 15 degrees in St. Paul, Minnesota. So that gives you an idea of what is coming our way. And that's going to track across the Virginias late tonight and tomorrow morning. So snow will break out along the southern tier counties of Pennsylvania by daybreak or around daybreak. And then the Atlantic moisture starts to get involved as we get into the midday hours. So the farther south you live in Lancaster, the higher snowfall amounts you're likely to see because you're closer to the Atlantic Ocean. Say if you're in Quarryville, you're closer to that moisture than if you live in Elizabethtown. So in terms of snowfall, I'm thinking areas south of Route 30, especially as you head down towards the Buck and over towards Quarryville, 4 to 8 inches. As you head north of Route 30, there'll be less snowfall, but still I think 3 to 6 inches. As you get north of the Turnpike and north of Harrisburg, then it's more like a 2 to 4 inch storm.
Talk about the impact for shoveling and for roads. For people out clearing their sidewalks and driveways, it's not going to be too bad of a snow to get rid of. Am I right?
Yeah, because it's a lighter snow. It's not going to be like, oftentimes we get those wet heavy wet snows. It's like shoveling sand, it seems, almost. This is going to be a lighter, fluffier snow, so it will be a little easier to shovel away, though I think it will be also blowing around tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, into Wednesday. One thing that won't work very well with this storm is salt, because temperatures will be falling throughout the day on Tuesday. It may be 25 degrees when the snow begins, but when the snow winds down Tuesday evening, it's going to be in the teens, and actually by Wednesday morning down in the single digits to maybe even near zero, and salt is completely ineffective when it gets that cold. So I would expect some, certainly slippery travel, not only tomorrow, but even into Wednesday.
So take care when you hit the roads. And plus, will the wind be making the snow drift in places where it traditionally drifts?
Exactly. This storm, the wind will be out of the north, and maybe shifting more out of the northwest on Wednesday. So those roads that are aligned northeast to southeast or even east to west will drift, especially Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And if we get 3 to 6 or 4 to 8 inches, that's enough. When you get a long fetch across a large field, like out in the outlying areas of Lancaster, you can get some pretty big drifts out of an event like this. And again, temperatures bitterly cold. If you're out Wednesday morning, sub-zero wind chills. Probably not quite as extremely cold as we saw earlier this month, but still, for Lancaster, it's going to be a pretty cold day Wednesday, and for that matter, the rest of the week looks pretty wintry.
So my kids are never going back to school again. Is that what this means?
Probably not tomorrow, although I don't make that call. So who knows? Maybe the storm will stay off to our south and east, and we'll wake up to just some light snow tomorrow. That can't be ruled out. These clipper systems, it's the typical caveat is that if the thing sets up a little farther out to sea and less moisture gets involved, then we get less snow. But I'm feeling pretty confident in this forecast at this stage.
So stock up on the hot chocolate and the popcorn.
Yeah, you bet. And again, cool weather's going to last. It's funny, when my kids woke up this morning, I notified them that there was some snow on the way. And right away they said, well, what about school on Tuesday? And I said, well, yeah, you have a chance. And then my young son said, but I bet it will rain by Friday. And I said, actually not. He was concerned it would get all washed away.
Yeah, talk about the rest of the week and the rest of the winter. Is this what we have to look forward to after Groundhog's Day even?
Yeah, well, the rest of the week looks cold. I guess, today we got up into the low 40s, and I don't see us getting above freezing again until maybe Saturday. There could be a slight warm-up into the middle 30s on Saturday, but then it looks like another cold front comes through Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, so that more cold air comes in Sunday and Monday. So I would say at least the next 7 days we will be below normal. Whatever snow we get will stick around for at least the next week, perhaps through the end of the month. This is a pretty impressive pattern. I'll tell you, Cindy, I think when this month is all said and done, it'll go down as the coldest January in a decade. So that's pretty impressive.
And I'm betting Octoror Orphy sees his shadow on February 2nd.
Wow, and that's Super Bowl Sunday too.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be interesting because heading into early February, I really don't see the pattern changing. So potentially it could be a cool wintry start to February as well.
Snow today, cold the rest of the week, cold coming up after that. Yeah. Thanks for your time today, Eric, and stay warm and drive safely, readers, and we'll check in with you later. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.